Hey guys, I just finished grading the notes that you took for your research paper practice, and I saw a few things that I wanted to make sure that I warned everybody about and some kind of common errors, all right? So I'm in this week's folder, and remember that all of these supplements remain open for you so that you can use them once you start to apply this information to the essays that you are writing. So make sure you look back over these if you are struggling with anything. Someone had pointed out that before this didn't have a page range on the anthologies, but I did edit that, so I wanted to make sure that everybody noticed that that the page range is inserted in there now. When I copied it over from an old PDF file, it did not hold that, so it's been fixed now. So when you are citing works in an anthology, I think I scrolled past it, there it goes, you do have to make sure you get that page range on there. Now, if you're looking at this as a guide, you'll notice A Raisin in the Sun is in italics. That's because that is a play title. Okay, that's a play that's inside of this Bedford book. However, you guys are using essays from inside of your textbook. So essay titles go in quote marks. So when you are citing your source, so say for example you are using Cite into Insight by Annie Dillard. This one's really good, by the way, if you get a chance to read it. You're going to have Dillard, comma, Annie, period. That's the author of the essay itself. And then in quote marks, you would have Cite into Insight, and that period goes inside of the quote marks, guys, when you have a citation, or if you are using a comma after the title in the body of your writing. The only time that period goes on the outside of those quotes is if you have a citation that you're adding to the end of the sentence. Then you have to make sure that you get that period behind the citation, not in front of it. Okay, and then in italics, you're going to have the full title. So make sure you have the Little Norton Reader and then a colon. That's the two dots, right? And 50 essays from the first 50 years will be after that colon, and then a period. Now this is just a first edition. It is a reprint of a first edition because they published it again using the 2016 MLA updates, but you don't need to put that on there. It's just still considered a first edition. All right, so what you do next is you go with who the editor was or the compiler. Now, if you're trying to determine who do I put on there, whom do I cite, if you look at the title page and the cover of the book, the title page looks like this. You'll see that Melissa A. Goldthwait is the one getting the credit. So you'll want to make sure that you put compiled by. Some of you are putting editors listed there. There is, if you look at the back of the title page, that's the great place to get information for your citations on a print source. There is an editor, Marilyn Moeller, but Melissa A. Goldthwait is the one that the publisher is giving the credit to on the cover and the title page. So you're going to put compiled by Melissa A. Goldthwait, period. All right, and then you will put W.W. Norton. All right, you don't need to put and company. You don't need to put Inc. All right, for incorporated. There's a guideline on that in the Modern Language Association, and I'll show you that you can find that in Noodle Tools as well. And then the publisher date. Some people are putting 2016, I think only because they are assuming that because the cover of the book says the 2016 MLA update. Keep in mind, though, that that update didn't happen until spring of that year, so the book actually wasn't reprinted until 2017. Now, if you look at the back of the title page, it will tell you that the copyright is 2017. So that's what needs to be put there, comma, PP period for a page range, wherever that essay is found in the period at the end of all of your citations. If I go back into course content in our current unit folder and scroll down, Don't forget to be checking the validity of your sources if you're going out online. And the passwords for the databases, that's attached here for you too for your ease. So if you go into the library e-portal, EBSCO is a great source. But I want to warn you a little bit about EBSCO as well. I found this one randomly in looking, and I wanted to show you that if you're using the citation generator in EBSCOhost, it is subject to operator entry error. So if you'll notice, the author of this particular piece is in all caps, but that is not standard. Okay, so you want to make sure that you don't just copy paste this into your paper, because ultimately you are responsible for making sure you cite using MLA 8th edition correctly. I am not going to take off points from EBSCOhost, right? But I can take off points from you. So you got to make sure that you are double checking your entries. If you go to Noodle Tools, and I did actually go ahead and add a link in here for you guys so that you could access that very quickly and easily. If you go into Noodle Tools and choose MLA, you just tell it what thing that you're wanting to cite. So if it's a journal or newspaper or a website, the most common ones are at the top, and create citation. Then it'll give you all of the boxes to put the information into. Now, I want to show you, for example, in the little carrots, there's a drop down option for author, editor, translator. In the book, I should have gone into that one. In the book entry, it does give you the option of choosing a compiler. So again, the little Norton reader, you're going to put compiled by, not edited by. Okay, so again, you can just double check your entries. What I really like about Noodle Tools also is in the upper right hand corner, there's a little MLA guide that if you click on that, it'll come up and show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so with the punctuation and everything. One thing I want to make sure that I tell everybody that you get this, because this is a difference from the 7th edition if you're used to using the old MLA version. You have to have your URL on your websites. Okay, you have to have that. And then when you are compiling your works cited page, you can either hyperlink them or not. Just keep it consistent. All right, either no or yes, but just keep it consistent. And then the date of access, the MLA guide says that you don't have to have that if your site has a date of publication. And so that's what I go with. You don't have to have a date of access on every single URL if you have a pub date. If there's no publisher date, however, you must have a date of access. Okay, so Noodle Tools is really cool. It's one of the best sources that I have found. One of the great things about it is once you click in a box to enter something, a little eye will pop up so you can click on that and get additional information. Like, for example, it'll tell you if you're typing in a title, what am I supposed to capitalize and what am I not supposed to capitalize? And then you can always click on the links to get additional information as well. So it'll keep adding information as much as you want to read and as much as you need. Okay, so those are some things that you want to be watchful of as you are finishing up this paper. Okay, do make sure that you're using a variety of different sources. Don't give me just a bunch of .coms and then your one Norton, okay? You can use up to 2 essays in the Norton Reader if you would like, all right? Anything else, though, would be just one for one. So for example, if you find on the CDC website there are 2 different articles that you're pulling information from, you're going to cite both of those articles separately, but I'm going to look at that as really finding information in one place and count it as one source. So make sure you're bringing in a variety of different source materials, and go back to the assignment sheet. It's linked there in the assignment link as well if you don't remember what the requirements are. Okay, do please use the research paper checklist. That's going to help to ensure that you don't miss a bunch of silly little unnecessary points. Like if you put your paper in the box with 11-point font or Calibri, that's not what I'm asking for. So you've got to meet the requirements of the assignment. I've noticed that some people are not removing spacing after paragraphs, so what I'll see is your heading on your first page is gigantic because it has an extra line space in between the 2.0 or double spacing. If you have a big gap in between your paragraphs, that's very likely what you've got going on there, okay? So, make sure you go through this, no contractions, no I or you or we or us. This is a paper that you are aiming to convince, and so remember, go back through your argumentation notes so that you make sure that you're doing all of these different appeals, that you're aware of fallacies. If you're using a source that has a fallacy in it, then that's a problem, okay? So the research papers take me a little bit longer to grade because I do not only read your paper, but I also read some of your sources as well. So do be patient during that process. I want to give you the very best feedback that I can in helping you to grow in your research process. I don't want anybody to move on to a university course and have to do a research paper and do a bunch of things wrong and that be problematic, okay? I want you to know what you're doing and know how to do things correctly. But use all of these sources that have been provided for you to help you to avoid missing points. And then another point that I wanted to make was that some of you are using insert citation features in Word. Do not do that. It will steer you wrong every time. If you go into Noodle Tools, you will see there is a gigantic list that you have to choose from when you are citing materials. Okay, the top options, those are just the most popular, but look at that. These are all of the different types of things that you might be pulling information from for your paper. When you go into the insert citation feature in Word, it's going to give you about 4 or 5 options, even the updated one. So it doesn't give you all of the appropriate boxes to put in all of the information that you need for a correct MLA citation. Plus, when you use the insert citation feature, I can't go in and type in what is correct. It won't let me inside of the insert citation feature box to change that in editing mode. So don't use insert citation. It will steer you wrong. You'll miss a bunch of points. It's not worth it. Okay, I know it seems easy at the beginning, and hopefully if they update Word, they're going to improve it, but for right now, it's not a good source. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to make sure that I brought to your attention was that when you go to your Blackboard sign-in page, it's not going to let me do that in student review mode, but if you go into the sign-in page, there is a box dedicated to the Writing Center. Okay, so it tells you all about ways that you can get some feedback on your papers. Remember, you can use tutor.com from the course menu if you would like, using your Cali email. That's free. If you need additional time, contact tech support and they can give you additional time. Or you can also meet with a tutor from the Writing Center. They are still open, and just don't put it off to the last minute. All right, give yourself time to go in and make corrections. And just like you see a box with me down in the corner, then your Writing Center tutor will do that with you as well. They'll counsel you through the paper as you go. Now, I know some of you can churn out decent papers in 45 minutes. Research papers are not like that. So plan ahead, double check it, make sure that's your best quality work at all possible, and then attach it to that assignment link no later than 9:30 on Sunday night. Best of luck. Contact me if you have questions.